The chancellors and the vice chancellors will be give that first one.
Make me look good. Oh yeah. I'm welcome.
Can everybody hear me? Feel free to pull into these benches up here at the front if you're looking for some chairs. We got quite a bit of room up here. Those are not reserved for anybody. Those are. Oh, yeah. So if people are looking for some more chairs, there might be some up here. If you feel comfortable standing, it seems we've exceeded the amount here. Very wonderful. But what time is it right now? It's 2:03. Okay. Well, so we can get this show on the road. I'm gonna pass it off to Vice Chancellor Frazier to do some opening remarks.
Good afternoon. It's always good to go to an event in the standing room only. So I'm glad so many of you could join us this afternoon. This doesn't happen with a lot of people involved and a lot of man hours. Just a lot of man hours, a lot of women hours, just a lot of hours, right? And hours and hours. But I would be amiss if I did not mention our new coordinator for our LGBTQA.
Absolutely.
And she is doing a fantastic. So it's always good to bring Salukis back home. Always good to bring Salukis back home because they produce some good products. So thank you for all your work, Juniper. At this time, without further ado, I would like to invite Chancellor Lane to the podium to unveil the name and to also have some comments for Ms. Paulette. And thank you again for joining us today.
Oh, yeah.
Really didn't have a choice, Paulette. You know that, right? I think Paulette's still in shock down here. I could tell when I introduced myself to her why we're doing this today. And there's so many people to thank. And Juniper, thank you for all that you've done. You've done an incredible job. Members of our newly formed LGBTQIA Constituency Council, if you are here, could you please stand and wave? Let's give them a round of applause. They're back here. Thank you guys so much. All that you do. That's an exciting, that group, I mean, we meet every month. And out of all my constituency groups, they have the longest agenda. And we get through it, don't we? There's usually like 8 or 9 agenda items, and every one of them is something that we're trying to do or that we've already done or that we need to do. And I commend that committee for their tenacity in what we're trying to accomplish here at Southern. I have to thank some other folks that are here. Steve.
Yeah, whatever.
Steve, what do you go? Stevie, what do you go by? Come here. Let's give him a big round of applause. Come on. Let me tell you something. You talk about fortitude. You talk about, oh, you laugh. You know what I'm talking about. Okay? Now, hey, that's what it takes. And it was easy once we talked with him. It's very easy. But I want to thank you for all that you've done, and really for Paulette. This is amazing history in the making. Great job. Great job. I have the privilege of getting a chance to talk to one of the greats that's among us in here. That's our previous president, Dr. Glenn Pichard. I want to have Dr. Pichard come forward. Give us some words. Thank you, Dr. Pichard, for being here. We can't miss this opportunity. I know you always got a speech in your pocket too, so come on.
Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you for being a chancellor with your wonderful staff that recognizes the need for this center and for addressing this after Paulette. It's really appreciated. Paulette asked if I would just give us a brief history of some of the things that happened over 20 years ago that brought us to this occasion, and I'll try to be as brief as I can. About 20 years ago, Paulette came to me and said, I don't want to go to the chancellor with this, but we're the only university in the state of Illinois that does not have healthcare benefits for same-sex couples, and we need it. And over the course of a little while, we put that together, and I took it to the board, and without any dissension whatsoever, the board passed it in a meeting that included the chancellors of both campuses. Chancellor Werner was about to retire at Edwardsville. He wanted this for the Edwardsville campus before he retired, and so we wanted to adopt it for the whole system. We did. That was on a Thursday. Friday went by, and headlines in the Southern Illinois on Saturday morning was Chancellor says gays are sinners. Now listen, History is brutal, and we went through a brutal time. We really did. The General Counsel called me up and said, you need to go talk to the chancellor, because if somebody pulls a young gay man out of a bar down Illinois Avenue tonight and beats him to a pulp, we don't have enough money in our self-insurance fund to pay. So we had conversations, not good ones. This persisted, and it went on and on, and it divided the campus. And it made a lot of young people who would have ordinarily been coming to this campus less secure and more afraid to come here. I believe it was in 2006 then, moving forward, that you were working with Bob and some other people here in a committee as an antidote to this divisive thing that had happened to our campus, to put together a center like this where young people who had been suffering from fear and insecurity could come and be counseled and feel safe. Carmen was a part of all that. Paulette again came to me after the committee had met and decided to go to Seymour Bryson, and I think to Dean Pendekar, and asked for my support. And I supported it all the way. It wouldn't have happened without Paulette leading the charge. That's why we're here today. So I just want to say this. On those two most important issues, getting healthcare benefits for same-sex couples on this campus, on this center to counsel and be here for our students who need it, she led the charge. In all cases, she led the charge. Last point I want to make is I grew up in a very fundamentalist faith, an evangelical faith. I didn't understand, nor was I sensitive in much of my career to the needs of gay and lesbian people. Paulette came to me in the course of many, many conversations and let me see humanity in the best form possible. She was not adversarial in any way to me. She didn't want to make me an enemy. She came to me as a friend with understanding and sympathy and compassion for me who had been misguided. And I'm a better person today because she helped me understand what I had not understood for a large part of my life. I'm going to tell you something. In the very near future, we're going to dedicate at least a large portion of the Varsity Theater to Dick Gregory, who was a great leader for civil rights. Because we have a chancellor that is willing to do what we're doing here today and his people, it is only right and just that this place be dedicated to Paulette Curkin, who stands every bit as tall as the giants for justice and mercy and compassion stand from SIU. Any of them. God love you.
Thank you, Dr. Bouchard. We appreciate that, given that history. And just a little disclaimer, I'm not the chancellor he was talking about. Right? Not me. I know. They know. I'm joking, but they know. I'm being serious. So, Paulette, it's a new day at Southern because of you. Right? It's a new day. And I've got a proclamation that I'm going to read. I hate reading things, but I love reading this. Renaming the SIU LGBTQ Resource Center in honor of Paulette Curkin. Whereas Southern Illinois University Carbondale's commitment to access, opportunity, and inclusive excellence dates to its founding in 1869, and whereas SIU Carbondale embraces all aspects of diversity, including gender, race, ethnicity, veterans, people with disabilities, and members of the LGBTQIA+ community, and whereas SIU Carbondale commemorates the 12th official campus celebration of LGBTQ+ History Month for the month of October 2024. And whereas SIU Carbondale recognizes the significant achievements of Paulette Curkin as alumna and retiree of the university, and whereas in lifetime contributions of Paulette Curkin have left an indelible mark on the local and campus LGBTQIA+ community, now as the Chancellor of Southern Illinois University Carbondale, I endorse and approve the change of SIU Carbondale's LGBTQ Resource Center to the Paulette Curkin Pride Resource Center in honor of a champion who for over 20 years steadfastly advocated for the center's creation, and upon that achievement served as its inaugural coordinator. Dated this second day of October 2024, which meant we've been working. And that deserves a big round of applause. Hold it up and give her this beautiful plaque. But just think about the history that she's making, that she's made. It's an incredible accomplishment. Very fitting that what we're doing today has your name all over it. So our students will know, our faculty, our staff, our community members, they will know that this is a university that is about being inclusive. We're not just talking about it, right? But we're being about it. That's the difference. And that's why we're seeing more and more students from all backgrounds coming right here at SIU Carbondale. It's going to continue because of you. So come up and get this beautiful award. Another round of applause.
Take your time. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh.
Really?
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor Lang. Thank you, Dr. Frazier. Thank you, Juniper. Thank you, Dr. Greer. And thank you, Dr. Bouchard, and all of my friends that are here today to help us celebrate what is a surprising occasion for me. It's truly a great honor and a little bit overwhelming, but I have to say that I didn't do any of this alone. Throughout the 20 some odd years that we worked on getting this resource center together, there were countless people working side by side to make this happen. People like Bob Turkio, people like Carmen Suarez. most importantly, a myriad of students that have come through here and gone on to do great things wherever they are. I'd like to share this with them today and let them know that I still appreciate, and for anybody that might be Zooming this, I appreciated all of the good wishes that I received online. So thank you very much. The other thing I wanted to say was that it's not often, you know, it's not work, it's a passion. It's not often that you see your passion come to a physical fruition. And I am proud of that. But I'm also so happy and so pleased that it exists today under the very capable hands of Juniper Oxford. Yeah. She is absolutely. I hope you guys know so with that, I'd like to once again say thank you, and I hope you all have a good time with each other.
I figure we'll follow up all of that with an open mic. If any of Paulette's friends would like to come up and share a little bit about
Just friends.
friends, acquaintances, and enemies of Paulette. To come up and say a few words and share some of their experiences. So with that, I'll tell you what, to start us off, I'm gonna have to bring Stephen up here. So. But please, let's start a queue up over here on the on this side. If anybody wants to come over and words, we might switch.
Give me the boy mic. You probably don't need a mic for me. Everybody hears me, right? God, look at all your friends, Paulette. You know, they talk about that 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon. It's like 2 degrees to Paulette Curkin. You know, thank God for Paulette Curkin. She has brightened the lives of everybody in this room, and nobody's more than mine. This was an honor that was way too long coming. As far as personal thoughts about what the magic of Paulette is, I wrote this as part of my Project 2025 book for Paulette. It was incredibly long. Thank you for reading it. But one of the things that has always struck me about Paulette was her openness to others. And she'll tell you this herself. One of her very earliest memories in this life was she lived in Connecticut, and she was just a normal little, well, I'm not going to say normal. No, little kid out in the neighborhood. She noticed these people going by, walking up and down. And she's like, they're interesting. Or they look sad and I want to talk to you. And she'd bring them up on the porch or the front steps, and she'd be talking to these people for hours. I didn't learn until later on when I met her wonderful parents, Harry and Kitty. Kitty said, well, down the street was our local mental home. And these were all people out on their day trips to town. And Paulette just found, she watched through the curtains or whatever to make sure everything was okie dokie, but she never interrupted her. And to me, that was just the first evidence of Paulette's true nature. Reaching out to others and providing comfort wherever possible. She was a great little kid. She's an even better adult. But I wish I'd known her all those years. We are lucky to have her. Thank God. Thank you, Paulette.
Anyone else like to come up and say a few words? Don't make me call on names. Well, I can. Yes, we're gonna pass it.
Now, this is a testament to everyone in the room, and especially to you, Paulette. This year, for the first time in 10 years, this institution has won the HEAT Award for our diversity and for our inclusiveness and for our equitable parts. And I know we're not there yet, but with your work and your help, we're going to get there, right? We're going to get to the part where it permeates across campus. So that individuals in here that are Salukis, you're proud to come back because of the things we're doing across the board and creating a sense of belonging for everyone in the room. So thank you again for your help in getting started.
Did I hear we have somebody? Yes, Carmen Suarez.
So there's a lot I could say, but I'll try to keep it brief. I first met Paulette in 1990. I had made a grand mistake in graduate professional student council presentation. I was brand new to the university at that time. The title was University Affirmative Action Officer, and I reported to Dr. Seymour Bryson. And I was going around doing the listening tour and the here I am, and here's what I do. I got asked a question. So my ignorance on LGBTQA issues was very evident. Didn't even know I was ignorant yet. And Paulette came to visit, and much like Dr. Pichard explained, she came, was in September of 1990, and she came, had a big smile. Everybody who knows Paulette knows that smile. Yeah. And she was chewing on a straw. And she was chewing on the straw because she was quitting smoking, and I was still a smoker. So that became a lesson and example number one. And in a very gentle and kind way, shared with me some of the errors that I made in the conversation. I'd gone off on a gender direction, particularly about women's rights as opposed to LGBTQ rights and the depth and the needs that. And part of the reason I wanted to speak is because very rarely do you find a person that has the same compassion, the same depth of passion, and the same advocacy for all groups, not just their own group that Paulette has. And as a Latina, I felt that I was pretty there in terms of looking across. I'd already worked very heavily in African-American communities, certainly worked in Latino communities. Thought I knew about gays and lesbians. I didn't go much beyond and had heard some of the other terms, but wasn't well educated at all and learned how to be well educated. And 34 years later, she's not just a wonderful colleague and went through many, many, many advocacy struggles on campus, but she's also a personal friend and has been a long time. She's been helping with my daughter, who's in the back, since my daughter was, she's hiding back there, since she was 7 years old, and she's not 7 years old anymore, as well as assisting, partnering, and pushing forward, and pushing me forward to do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do. A plaque that when I moved on from SIU, that she was instrumental in having me receive from the LGBTQ group on campus at the time after we had the center. What she did for Latinos and Latino students, what she did for African-American students is very deep and substantial. She was tireless and is tireless and continues to serve in our community in many different capacities. Now I understand certain lunches at churches. But she does all that she can. She's been an elected official. She has been unceasing and tireless. And her work in her student affairs jobs, both in housing and in programming and leadership, have been remarkable. She's won national awards, particularly for one that will always stay with me. And that is called What I Want You to Know About Me. She would have voluntary, certainly not twisting anybody's arms, folks from many different walks of life, student athletes, women wearing the hijab, certainly students that were minority students, as we called it then, but from all different walks of life to come and share those kinds of experiences. What do I want you to know about me? If it were me as a Latina, as a Chicago Latina, they could do it any way they wanted, and then we would have breakout sessions. She won a national award and many universities around the country, and I took it with me to the University of Idaho and to Portland State University. This is who we're honoring today, not just a champion of LGBTQ rights, but a champion for every single marginalized voice ceaselessly.
Over 50 years or close to 50 years.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was just Paulette anyway. So happy. My name's Deb Idris. I'm so happy to be here today to celebrate Paulette. Many of us have wanted this name change for a long time. Two people need to be recognized, and they have been, for their work in making this happen. Stephen St. Julia and Booker Oxford. Stephen did all kinds of research and letter writing, and when Juniper joined the effort, everything just accelerated. So this is their day too. Like I said, I've been friends with Paulette almost 50 years. We've been to queer liberation marches in New York and DC and here, Take Back the Night marches. There are all kinds of ways that we show up for our community and ourselves, and that is what Paulette has always done. Paulette has been a proud Jewish lesbian. Jewish religion has commandments called mitzvahs. And one of the mitzvahs that Paulette definitely influenced Paulette was to do good. And that doesn't mean to just think good thoughts or send well wishes, but to actually do something. She's always cared about equality, and that's what started this center. But she also cares about community, and her bar was our community center in the 80s. When she worked on campus, she was an advisor to the Saluki Rainbow Network and to a Black fraternity. She helped students find housing when they were being harassed for being queer or gender nonconforming. She's been a member of the Jackson County Board, the Women's Center Board, but she also helps sick friends, takes people to St. Louis, to doctor's appointments, helps serve lunches, and welcome new people to our community. I read something the other day, which I think describes how Paulette lives. Joy as praxis, love as liberation. You can't do the big rebellions if you can't do the small ones, and she excels at both. Naming the LGBT Center for Paulette is a well-deserved honor, but it's also an honor for SIU to name this center for someone who is filled with joy and love and who is a determined warrior for justice and equality. Congratulations, Paulette.
Good afternoon. My name is Paulette Clark, and I'm interim administrator, Jackson County Health Department. I wasn't planning to talk. I have worked with Paulette for years. Seemed like anything we ever wanted to do on campus regarding safe sex, STDs, any type of HIV care, Paulette was always right there. And it didn't really hit me. I just told her this story, but it didn't really hit me until I got here. I'm going to try not to get emotional. But she has reached so many people that she's never even met. My youngest daughter, she's never probably met her. She's 28. She's getting married in 2 weeks at Blue Sky with over 300 guests to her same-sex partner. There was never a question, as it should be, that this was an open community. My daughter works at Carbondale High School. She has a picture of her same-sex partner on her desk. That could never have happened years ago. And I just really want to thank her.
It's a long pathway.
Hello, my name is Faith Smothers. I'm the current sitting secretary for the Spooky Rainbow Network. I'm in my 3rd year here at SIU Carbondale, and a major reason of why I chose to come to this school, closing on 3 whole years ago now, is because of the Resource Center. The Resource Center's very existence has made things possible on this campus that would not have been possible at the majority of other schools that I was looking at. I would not be the secretary for SRN, an incredible organization that I'm so honored to be in. Being able to guide my fellow students to the Resource Center is an honor. And sorry, words. SIU and Carbondale are so rich with LGBTQ history, and being able to be at this event, which may seem like a very small point in history, but is paving the way for many, many more years of people going to the Paulette Curkin Pride Resource Center. I'm so excited to see where things go from this. I only have a couple more years left, but I know that there are many, many, many more great things to come for our queer community here in Carbondale and here at SIU campus.
If you stay in your seats that much longer, I'll just go ahead and say my little bit, which is that when I first started here, I came from it really wanting to do this kind of work because of the coordinator that came before me. I got my degree from here. I was Vern Cooper then back in 2019, and the support that I got from the center made me realize it changed the outcome for me, and I wanted to do that for others. So, you know, doing all of this is just one grand payback, things that we can never really pay for again, right? We can't fully pay up our tab. I owe an invaluable debt to this university and to the work that Paulette has done. Whenever I started in the position, I started wanting to do these oral history projects and, you know, finding ways that we can collect and honor our LGBTQ plus history on campus. And I kept hearing the same thing over and over again. Have you talked to Paulette before? Have you seen Paulette? And so I made some plans. I was going to, you know, and then position gets in the way, History Month and, you know, awareness weeks and things like that. Students coming in, requiring support, finding out that life gets in the way, right? And as it turns out, I didn't have to go find Paulette. She found me. And so we worked together on the Southern Illinois Queer history project that we're doing. We're going to have an exhibit in April of 2024 at the Sharp Museum. 2025, yes. Oh. Time flies. And I've had such a wonderful opportunity getting to speak to amazing individuals such as Paulette, but also, you know, seeing Cade, seeing Stephen, seeing Billy, an innumerable amount of amazing people that I've met through Paulette. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And, you know, I feel your influence through the center ever since I entered the position, ever since I was a student, and now appropriately, you are a fixture there, right? I was thinking about putting a photograph or something in the center, but I thought I didn't want you looking down on me all the time. It also might be a little bit weird because you'll have steering contests with me and you know what I mean? And I can't win that, so. But all of that to say, I want to turn your attention to everything going on around you here. We have 2 exhibits. And so if you have the opportunity to check them out, we have from Golden Rainbows of Illinois South, a photo voice exhibit over here. And then we also have a retrospective on the LGBTQ Resource Center, now the Paulette Curkin Pride Resource Center. And you can see here at the very first case, we have information about before the center and creating the center, then those early years, that time through there. Post-pandemic, that one's interesting, a lot of QR codes there. And then lastly, we come here to the last case. This shows appropriately all of our safe zone placards there, which once Paulette came into the center, safe zone facilitation on campus has gone through the center for every coordinator. So you'll see various placards there from all of us. You'll see quotes from all of our past coordinators on the walls. You'll see some of our coordinators in these photographs. If you can recognize them, spot them, right? But lastly, you see here, we have the letter that Stephen St. Julian had written.
You see this?
It's a really
It's Stephen's letter to me.
It's fantastic. Yes. And of course, so we end where we started, right? So you'll see references to Paulette at the very beginning, and you'll see references to Paulette at the very end. And it all comes around in a circle. So just as we end out our stuff here, I just want to give y'all an opportunity to check and see what we have going up on these walls, get a little bit of a sneak peek what's going to be happening in April 2025 at the Sharp Museum. And of course, I got food and stuff in the back, so feel free to, please, you don't grab it, I will. And then lastly, we're going to reconvene in a little bit of time once we've got some opportunity to look around. And we're going to be coming back to the Student Multicultural Resource Center. It's a few minute walk that direction. You may need to repark. Give yourself some time to do that, of course. But we're going to be meeting back there. And I want to be showing Paulette the sign and everything that we have going on. And I'll also have some cake and tea there. So, you know, we'll end it out with some sweets. But yeah, that's what we have going on. So please feel free to get some orders and stuff and check out the exhibits. And thank you all for coming. Right, later.